Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey of My Mother's Son podcast. Today I'm joined with Jenna Nimtz,
Yep.
also known as Jenna from Baseballism at the Field of Dreams movie site. Jenna, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited, yeah.
No doubt. So I've never been to the Field of Dreams. I'm a huge baseball fan. So when Sandy and I started traveling and we knew we were going to be taking a trek out west, we marked this on the spot. I've been following you on Instagram for a little while. And my daughter was actually out here just a couple weeks ago with her family. And I just got to thinking, part of this journey is, sitting down and talking to people and letting them tell their stories. And, I like your Instagram post. So I reached out and said, hey, would you want to do a podcast with me? And thankfully you accepted the offer, so to speak. So again, thank you very much for joining me. We're fresh off what had to have been a whirlwind here at the Field of Dreams site with the Major League Game. So before we talk about that, though, let's talk a little bit about your journey as far as how you got to Iowa and, how long you've been here. And then we'll talk a little bit about that whirlwind. So what got you into Dyersville, Iowa?
Yeah, absolutely. So the company I work for is called Baseballism. We are a small chain. We're actually based out of Portland, Oregon, but we opened one of our stores in Scottsdale, Arizona. So that's the spring training hub. So we had a store there since 2016. I had joined their roster in 2017, and I kind of worked as a seasonal associate just because it's the busiest month in Arizona is spring training, and then it kind of tapers off. People don't walk around when it's 120 outside. So I was lucky enough to stay on throughout the summer and then throughout the winter season when we got busy with the seasonal rush. So I was working in Arizona for about 3.5 years or so. And my boss had approached me and he said, hey, so we're doing a store at the Field of Dreams. So it is in Dyersville, Iowa. It's a, smaller town of 4,000 versus your, 500,000 in Scottsdale, So he's like, we are doing a small store there, but it's going to be big volume and we need somebody to run it. And he approached me with that and I said, well, that sounds great. I was like, to be honest, I've never done the winters before, though, because being from Arizona, used to sunshine. You don't get any of the snow or the cold, anything like that. If it gets below 60, you're in 3 layers in Arizona. Right. So he had approached me and he said, well, here's the deal. We can send you out to Dyersville, work that whole season, and then you can come back home to spring training and work that season in the winter. And I was like, okay, great. Like, sign me up. I said, I get to experience, both the Dyersville the busyness here at the field, and then I go home to my actual town, and it's very quiet. It's, a small, peaceful place, but you get a little bit of the hustle and bustle in the summer here. So that's kind of how my journey came out to Dyersville from Scottsdale. Yeah,
that's cool. So you haven't spent a winter in Iowa, or you have? I
have not spent a winter in Iowa.
That's a pretty sweet deal. I gotta tell you,
I don't plan on it.
That's a pretty sweet deal. That's almost as good as living in an RV.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we chase the good weather, so you kind of got it. You got it figured out.
Yes, definitely.
So if you ever want to do the RV life, you're already.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say people call me snow chick because I'm the age where it's like most of the time you settle in one spot or the other, but I was like, thankfully, I'm at the point where I can do both. And I would fit the RV life pretty well, I think. Yeah, that'd be cool. Awesome.
That's cool. So the store here has been here for not even quite 2 years now?
Yeah, technically with the closures that we have in the winter, it's been about 14 months of open time total. So we were projected to open in April 1st of 2020. And obviously that was when COVID was huge. So we had to close up until May 1st. So starting May 1st all the way through weekends in November, we were open last year in 2020. And then this year we opened right on schedule, April 1st of 2021. And we've been open since.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, again, a couple weeks ago, the Yankees and White Sox showed up in town. What was that like here? I mean, again, this is my first time here, and the place is awesome. I can't even imagine just, how many people were here and how busy the store was and just keeping up with it. I mean, what was it like?
Yeah, so we, originally when the game was supposed to happen in 2020 before it's canceled, it's kind of funny. We got that extra year to prep because we were going to have 8,000 seats originally. The stadium was going to hold 8,000, and they, once they canceled the game, once they reduced the fans, so it was going to be 50%, and then they reduced it again, say, okay, probably no fans. No, just do the game and no fans. And we were thinking, I was like, gosh, we're going to be closed the entire week of the game. There weren't going to be fans, so why would we be open? So we would have lost, the revenue, the field, all that for that entire week where they didn't have the game. Luckily, and it worked out well because I'm glad they canceled it. They could do it right this time. So having that year to prepare gave us more time to get our inventory ordered, get everything. I mean, if we had the day we had last year, we would have been crushed. Yeah. I mean, we would have had nothing left on the floor to sell. It was the most traffic the field has seen in a regular event ever. Because 8,000 people just to fill the seats. Then you have the crew, you have the volunteers, you have the staff, you have my workers, all of that considered. We crushed my company records across the board. It was just crushed. So seeing all these people kind of file into town, it was something different. It was more hustle and bustle that I'm used to, but I know a lot of the people in town, they were kind of nervous to begin with because they're like, this is twice the town. Yeah, exactly. And they're all coming for one day. Just they're going to be in our space. I mean, it worked out well. A lot of the business owners were grateful because they did get a lot of business that normally doesn't come through town and hang out. And, so they were very grateful for that. But it was kind of interesting to see all of that happen for this town, being it's so quiet and so peaceful normally, but it was a fun experience.
Yeah. What is the normal traffic? I guess weekends are obviously better. So what is the normal traffic count coming through here?
So weekends, normally we'll see, I have a vehicle counter that we have at the front, so that gives us a rough idea of how many cars are coming. Normally on a weekend, we'll get about 500 cars a weekend. So, that's between 1 and 5 people coming through. Weekdays are kind of, in the summer, they're busier, so we get about 300-ish cars that come through in the weekdays, but it's never been one big sitting all at once, which is something that was cool to experience. It was overwhelming because, a lot of people, they had to ask the farmers around the other sides of the lot. They're like, hey, we're going to need this spot to park people because there wouldn't be anywhere to park them. We just have farmland that's around here, so our little site holds probably 100 cars max, and at one time, but so it was nice for them to kind of lend out their land so that we could park people for that. But the normal traffic ranges about 500 cars a day. Yeah.
So this is a Wednesday that we're here, and I was surprised with the number of people that are here for a Wednesday. I really had no idea what to expect at all. But it's just an iconic movie, and the fact that they're able to preserve this spot, and just again a magical movie. What does it feel like for you to kind of be a part of that?
Yeah, it was first to be offered the position originally. It was almost surreal. I'm like, I'm going to a place that, in my company, again, we want to be where baseball people are. We love the sport, and we know that people who love the sport love the sport. You live and die if you love baseball. And having a spot here, we just wanted to be a part of where baseball's been. And the best part about the movie is, too, you don't have to be a super huge fan, but it's based as a movie in the middle of a cornfield. Like, you can't get a cooler experience than that. Just driving out through the middle of the corn, you get the beans, and you drive up under a driveway, and there's a field right here. So being part of that magical experience, it's so cool. You get visitors coming from all over. They've got different stories to tell about it. It's very special being a part of this, and it's a limited opportunity that not many people get to say they get to be part of. So it's been a treat. Yeah,
that's cool. So what's your initial love of baseball? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so my dad, it started with my dad. We've been a baseball family. We didn't really do football or basketball or anything. It was mostly baseball. My dad is a huge stats guy, so he loved watching the game. He would win all of his fantasy leagues. He was good at what he did just because he loved watching the game. And my brother played baseball throughout high school, so my dad was kind of coaching, and I did t-ball, and then I went straight into softball. I played softball for about 15 years competitively. I did 2 years at a local Phoenix college in Arizona, where I'm from, and that kind of playing the game grew my love for the sport more. Even watching on the field, you can relate with what's happening just because you played it and did it when you're younger. So that was kind of the spark. It was mostly my dad. he's a diehard Cubs fan. He was born in Arlington Heights, so he's live and breathe and die Cubs. And I'm a Diamondbacks fan by birth, but it's mostly him that kind of sparked the love in baseball for me.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. So, kind of bouncing around a little bit here, but back to the MLB game. Is there any one moment, when the week leading up to that or the day of the game that sticks with you more than any other?
Yeah. My favorite part is kind of when we had the site closed to the public for a week leading up to the game. And I kind of tell people that was the calm before the storm. You're sitting there, you're driving, you're walking down this lane. I'm like, there's not a regular car in sight. You obviously have the cars from the people who are working on it and bringing stuff in. But it was just sitting in my store getting ready for everything. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, it hits me like the game is tomorrow. It's the next day. And during the game, my favorite part is when they're doing the anthem. And they have the flyover that goes over the field. Everyone instantly got chills. I mean, the girl was singing. She's from Iowa, Maddie Poppy, and she's crushing it. And you have the flyover that comes over the field and then over to my store. And it's just, that was one of my favorite parts from the game. It was really cool. The players actually got to come out onto our field before they played. So this is about like 1 o'clock-ish. And they walked out of the corn just like they did. If you watch the broadcast of it, they walked onto our field just like they walked onto the field in the game. And oh my gosh, you get chills almost watching it. I mean,
you do.
They were full dressed in the uniform, ready to take pictures, all that stuff. So it was nice. I got to meet Aaron Judge, and he's an awesome guy. And then I got Tim Anderson as well. So the two big guys who produced that game, I got to take a photo with and meet. So that was a fun experience for me too, just to see them kind of act and be like kids on that field. They're just walking around almost in a daze, like, is this real? Like, it just didn't seem possible for them to kind of show that youthfulness, for lack of a better word to phrase that. But yeah, that was my favorite part.
Yeah, you actually kind of answered my next question, because I was going to say, what was the reaction of those guys? And I think that right there tells you what the magic of this field is, that guys who have reached the pinnacle of their professional careers are on their way there, that they get here, and I'm not playing for the New York Yankees right now. I'm not playing for the Chicago White Sox. Mm-hmm. I'm a kid.
A kid on a ball field.
On a ball field, that everybody knows.
Yeah.
So that is definitely one of the magical things about the game, and the way the movie was able to capture it so eloquently, and then be able to keep it, going on here. It's funny, before you got here, my wife and I, two friends of ours from Maryland, we actually happened to be kind of converging on this place at the same time. Mm-hmm. So they got here a little bit before us, and they told us that there was a couple that had just renewed their wedding vows on the field. And, when you see stuff like that, I mean, again, is it, what's the feeling when you see stuff like that happening out here in front of your face?
I mean, really, like I say, it gets chills, and that happens a lot on the field just because it is such a special place. But you'll see proposals, you'll have weddings. I mean, people come out and take their wedding photos on the field. It's like, people do it at other ballparks, but it's just something so special about it. You got the corn in the background, you have the farmhouse from the movie. Like, it's a special place. And it's funny just watching one the other day where this couple, they're kind of walking around the plate, and they get to home, and the guy pops down on the knee and he proposes to this girl, and you're like, oh my gosh, you just get this feel of like, it's just something special that just, even proposals are special anyways, but just watching that happen, and it's frequent on the field, not too often where it loses its magic, but every time it's just, you get like little goosebumps. It's so cool. Yeah.
So again, now back to the Major League game. You said you had a week to kind of prepare for it. You said that the store crushed it. Mm-hmm. Did it exceed your expectations? Did you think that you would do the volume that you did, or was it like, this is exactly what we thought?
Oh, it exceeded by far. Yeah. We thought we were prepared. We thought we had enough people to help, and oh my gosh. It was pretty much busy from the gates open at 3:00, and it was like letting the cows out of the barn. Kind of, there was a bull rush to the store. They had enough for people to do. They had the corn maze that was open, but once the gates open at 3:00, it was a madhouse. I mean, we had lines out and through the door. There's only so much we can do we had 2 registers going, which was not enough. I'll tell you, it was not enough. But we had staff running, getting stuff, and it was busy all the way up until the game. Everyone moseyed their way over because, you know, you don't want to miss the whole intro. That was awesome. But, and then after the game, we had another like little post-game rush, and that lasted till about like midnight or so.
Wow.
So we knew it was going to be busy. It quite literally crushed all the expectations.
Yeah.
So we're prepared for next year because there will be a next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, this first one I was like, okay, well, let's circle back and revisit and kind of tweak some things to make it better.
Right.
But yeah, it was a fun experience overall.
Yeah. So when you guys heard that it was going to be an annual game, what was that like for you guys?
We were hoping for it. We didn't really know. It was kind of all, and when MLB calls it, it's kind of all, whatever they say goes, and whenever they say it, that's what it is. But we were very excited to hear they're having another game. I mean, this was the most viewers in, I think, the past like 16 years in a regular season game. And, a lot of the time on social media, you'll see posts from you'll see posts from like basketball and football and all those highlights, but you didn't really see too much from baseball. It was almost I don't want to say a dying sport, but a lot of the viewers, there weren't too many youth that were involved in it. And now you're seeing highlights and you're seeing clips and you're seeing all the photos from the game, and people are excited. They have a captive audience now. So I think the best way for them, they're like, well, let's do number 2. Let's do another game, keep this and hold this attention while we have it. And hopefully it sparks 11 people. I mean, because I had more people that don't follow baseball message me, and they're like, I watched that game, and I couldn't believe it. It was the coolest thing ever. I mean, the ending was almost scripted. Like, how can you beat a walk-off home run to win the game from the White Sox? Like, how can you script that? But that's the specialty of the sport. There's so many things that happen in everyday games like that where it is a special sport, and we want people to recognize that and pay attention and love the sport again, So that's kind of why I think they announced the second game, and I'm hoping it does well. I mean, you can't beat the first one. It is it's just like the first. The sequels always are not as great as the first, but having that attention, having people come out, and we'll sell 8,000 seats regardless. I mean, any year we do something here, people are going to follow their team here if they continue to do more. But that's kind of, I think, why they decided to do that second game.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, and it definitely was, a magical game. Like you said, you couldn't have scripted it any better. The intros, having the players come in through the corn, having Kevin Costner lead them through there, was again, Major League Baseball did good on that one. There's no
cinematic masterpiece. It was so good. I mean, I think the year of planning had to help them as well. Getting everything set, making sure it was to a T. I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah. When you first got here, was the stadium already complete, or was there still construction going on when you first started?
Yeah, so when I got out here, and that was in March of 2020, they had just started getting all of that ready. So all of the field was kind of leveled. It wasn't fully started, fully done, but the process was definitely started. They had been working since July 1st. Yeah, July 1st of 2020. That's when they started to put up the stadiums and the seating and the batter's eye, all that stuff. When they canceled a week before the game, they tore everything right back down. So, I mean, the next day, after they canceled it, there comes the stadium, everything you can see coming down. And then they just kept the field, the dugouts, and the lights. And they did that for a reason. They wanted to make sure it didn't look like an eyesore on our field, because you can't see it over the corn line. It's a big building. So they said, let's make it as natural looking as we can, beside the lights and what you can see past the corn. But I think if they continue to do a yearly game, I mean, they're already starting to tear down the stadium again. Again, they'll leave the field, the lights, dugout, but they wanted to keep it looking natural.
Right.
Yeah, as it did in the movie, the best they could with that. So I think that was there. So when I came out, it was just barely started. Right. Yeah, so it's been fun watching it, kind of go up and down. Yeah, I get to see the whole process right from my store. I'm a stone throw away from it, so.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, anything else you want to mention about, the facility here, the store, anything at all?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of special events out here. So, I mean, most times people come out and they're like, It's just a baseball field in the middle of corn, and that is the draw. That is, from the movie, and we try to keep to that. But a lot of people can rent the field. They can do special things. You can rent the home for the evening. So we try and make it as much of an experience as we can for guests that come out. Our store specifically, we are all for the love of the game. So anything baseball, we're all about it. That's kind of why we decided, I think I mentioned this earlier, but that's why we decided to be at the field. We love being where all the baseball people are. And people have such a passion when they get here. It's like we said, it's magical. I mean, you pull into this drive and you're coming down the dirt road there, and it's just something hits you where it's like, oh my gosh. You just go crazy. I mean, not go crazy, but it's something, an experience that you only really have a couple times in your life, and that's one of them. So, that's pretty much why we decided to be here.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So, as I told you, I ask all my guests a final question, and the subtitle of the podcast is Many Little People in Many Little Places, which comes from the opening lyrics of Michael Frante's song that go, in many little people in many little places, do many little things, and the whole world changes. So what's one of the little things that Jenna does on a daily basis to make the world a little bit better place?
Yeah, so thankfully with my company, I am able to kind of have a give back to all the youth coming up in the sport. There's a lot of kids that either don't have the money, don't have the guidance, don't have the means to continue playing the sport they love. And my company, we started as a youth camp originally. So being able to participate with that, and we do donations, we have a give back. So if you buy a baseball, we give one to a youth organization in need. And that's something we do every day. We pride ourselves on keeping a love of the game in the kids and making sure that they're all taken care of. So I get to participate in certain things like that. And it makes the world a little bit better. Keep the kids off the streets, get them doing something they love and that they're passionate about. So having the opportunity to participate in that is probably one of the things I'm most proud of with my organization and with myself. So that is one thing I try to do every single day, make sure I'm giving back, making sure I'm participating in those things that help them.
Yeah. That's very cool. And it's great when you see companies that, it's more than about making a profit, So when it's refreshing to know that there are still companies out there who, are taking some of that profit and giving it back and doing some good with it. So that's great to hear. Is there any way that people could get involved in that?
So we post normally when we're doing kickbacks or when we're doing free. We did a youth camp this past couple weeks. So in a couple different locations across the country, we are offering free what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not personal training, but lessons and camps that we offer to youth who need it. So we have a posting on our website that tells you, it outlines like where the camp's going to be, if you can participate, if we're taking volunteers, all that kind of stuff. So it'll be on our website, just baseballism.com. And then every purchase gets added towards stuff like that. In the month of September, we're actually doing a give back to Make-A-Wish. So a percentage of all our sales will go right onto, no matter what you get, a percentage of the sales will go right onto that. So online and in stores. So we always try and give back. I mean, that's a big part of the company, and that's why we are a company, because people, trusted us with their money. That's your money, your time, your energy, all that stuff. So we always give back when we can. So that's one thing we're doing this next month coming up here.
That's cool. That's awesome. So, folks out there listening, be sure to check out my blogs and other podcasts at danclouser.com. Jenna, again, thanks so much for taking the time to join me and tell a little bit about your story.
Thank you for having me. This is a blast.
Thanks.